Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here today. It is Friday, April the 9th. We are about a week through the month of May, completely wrong month. And I am joined across the mic by Snail. We have some things to talk about here. We have draft lottery, mailbag, and some Stanley Cup playoff action. Before we dive into that, I will throw it over to Snail to see how things are going over in Seattle.
What's going on, Robbie? I've been busy as hell, but we're supposed to record yesterday. I ended up putting a drywall screw through a stud, and it went through a wire, and I could have shocked myself to death, but luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And ended up taking longer than I had to get my electrician buddy over there to fix it. That it ruined my whole day pretty much, but I am at least alive to tell the tale. But besides that, dude, things are kind of great out here. Like, summer is pretty much here. It feels like the sweatshirts are put away essentially. Playoff hockey has been so good. Like it's over exceeded my expectations for how these games, every game is good. I think the storylines are great. The action is good. So having a hockey to come home and watch for like 6 straight hours has been pretty nice for me. How are things out there in Western PA, Robbie?
Right now, they're not too bad. It's a really nice day here. It's been a little rainy as of recently, but today it was pretty nice. A little cold on the colder side, but nothing unbearable. It's nice and sunny today, some clouds in the sky. But overall, a nice day after what was a rather wet week for the most part. But, no harm, no foul in that.
No.
And, the cold is definitely seemingly, at least the bitter cold is seemingly past for the most part. It looks like we are into full spring now, heading into summer. But, I can't complain too much. It's been pretty good around here. And like you said, the playoffs have been great. We'll talk about that in a little more detail here in a bit. But before we get into that, we figured we learned where the Penguins will be picking in the upcoming NHL draft. And the New York Islanders steal the number 1 overall pick.
Dude, we got to get into there's so much to unpack with this. I'm sorry, but okay. First of all, before you give any more details on what happened, because I'm sure some of our listeners, already know the dirty details of all this, but they did a different method of picking the first overall pick this year as to prior years, correct?
I believe it was different. Now it was a live draft lottery. Typically, it is done beforehand, and then they pull the cards about who's picking where and stuff like
Right.
that. So it was a live draft lottery, which we don't always get to see. It was fine. I mean, it was kind of awkward. It's almost like they practiced it and then things didn't go according to plan when they actually started pulling the balls. But no, the Islanders get the number 1 overall pick. The Sharks are 2, Chicago 3, and then Utah makes the next big leap. They go up to 4. So 2 teams jumped above the Penguins, meaning the Penguins went from the 9th overall pick to 11th in this draft. As of right now, they are just 11th. The New York Rangers came in at 12, and as we know, the Rangers could choose to give that pick to the Penguins if they wish. If not, they get next year. So right now, the Penguins are scheduled to pick 11th. They do drop 2 spots. Not ideal, but not the end of the world either. There's still going to be plenty of talent to pick there, and we'll look at that as we roll along here. But as of right now, the Penguins are picking 11th in this. But there was a time where it looked like the Penguins might get that number 1 overall pick. I do believe they were up to about an 18 or 20% chance was their high as the names were being drawn. And there was some a lot of people were really starting to get revved up that the Penguins might end up walking away with that number 1 overall pick.
Dude, yeah, I saw that. So we need to take it back. I almost interrupted you again, but Robbie, I was on Twitter while I was watching the draft lottery, and I had Twitter up, of course. A lot of Penguins people, like Josh Yohe, I believe, had a comment. Hunter Hodes was chiming in. I liked Hunter's take and I liked your take. That's where I felt. I was 11th overall, whatever.
Yeah.
But there were people that said that the Penguins falling to 11th was the worst case scenario. That term was literally thrown out. Worst case scenario. Their winning streak screwed them out of 1st overall. Let's be honest. This is every year there's at least one game. There's some players that can make an impact down the road, whether it's a bad draft or you get Connor McDavid type drafts.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it's that big of a deal. 11th overall, you're going to get a solid piece down the road. If you have competent people, scouts and people in the rooms, in the war rooms, just going over what's the best fit for this plan that Dubas is always talking about. If you trust them, they're going to make a solid selection. I did not understand the outrage over them getting 11th. Did you see some of that noise?
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of people. I think a lot of it was an immediate. Oh my gosh, we were so close to the 1st overall pick that it was a little bit of just that emotion kind of coming out. But I don't think that it's obviously not backbreaking. I don't think. I mean, you might miss out on a guy you would have had. Obviously, if you're picking 1 overall, but your options were 1, 2, 9, 10, or 11. You weren't ever going to fall in that 3 to 8 range anyway. So you know that your odds of picking top 2 were small to begin with. That it sucks when you're kind of that close, and then a team that is a rival ends up being the one that gets it in the end. What I will say is I'd be much more frustrated if it happened next year. If they were that close to, let's say, Gavin McKenna, and they won 5 of 6 games at the end of the season, that would frustrate me. The problem is the Penguins are never going to be that bad with Sidney Crosby on the roster. So that's just the nature of the beast. But this is the highest they've picked in, I believe, since 2007. I could be wrong on that. I believe. Yeah, I think second. Stahl was second.
Pouliot was didn't they get Pouliot at wasn't he an 8th overall?
Oh, that's right. This is the highest they picked, being a bad hockey team. That was a trade. Yeah,
right.
This would be as a pick that they themselves, their own pick. This is as high as they will have been seeded since 2007 when they picked Stahl number 2 overall. Sam Poulin was not this high. Bo Bennett was not this high. So, yeah, they're in the 11th spot. We'll talk more about who could be there because there's going to be a lot of breakdowns and video and all kinds of big boards coming out in these next few weeks here. We're still, I believe the draft is the 25th. So we still have 7 weeks until we have to worry about all that. So it's going to be really interesting to dive in. But I thought that initial overreaction was like, okay, let's calm down a little bit. I mean, it's not the end. The world didn't end. And really, those wins at the end of the season, if they mattered at all, they mattered. I mean, we're talking on the margins at the most in terms of chances of getting a top pick. And yeah, I mean, when you're that close and you see that number climb from like 5% to 20%, yeah, that's a significant number. And that first overall pick is not this year's draft is decent, but you don't hear him talking about guys like Connor Bedard, Max Celebrini, Gavin McKenna. Not to take away from anybody that's up there, but if you're going to hit, I'd rather hit next year. So let's hope that maybe we get some juju if the Penguins are in this position next year that we can snag a franchise-changing player.
Yeah, 100%, man. I feel like next year, if the Penguins are really gonna, tank, or if they're just gonna commit to being as is, if Tristan Jarry is our starting goaltender next year, and it's Alex Nedeljkovic again, and next year they're burning for development purposes, that's where you hope that, if you have to, you might have to. I don't want to go full Brian Hayes of Toronto here, but you might have to sit the last week just to secure that worst record. You're
going to have, if the Penguins are in that position next year, you're going to have a lot of people around the Penguins locker room suddenly sick and coughing around Crosby final week or two of the season. Somebody might get bronchitis or the mono or something.
That's what I was going to say. The really it's like the super spreadable one, and you're usually sick for like a month.
Yeah, something that's going to be more than just like a cold. Might have another a mumps episode in the Penguins locker room if they're in that kind of position late next season. So because
Crosby's already back to back, like he's in every.
You're just putting a fan in goal. You're just e-bugging the final 2 weeks of the season. You're just the Zamboni drivers out there, night in, night out.
Let's just, if it's going to be tank for McKenna year, let's get goofy. I don't really care at that point. But I was going to also say, you were saying that draft boards are already being mocked up. If you're a Penguins fan, why even do that? Because I believe that there's a pretty decent centerman out of Sault Ste. Marie that's falling down the draft board. He's like a 6-foot center coming off of a under 18 gold medal campaign, World Juniors. What is it? I think I had it pulled up here.
The U18. It's the IIHF.
Yes, U18 gold medal performance. The IIHF. Yeah. He plays for Sault Ste. Marie. He's about 6 feet, 178 pounds. He had a really good season. Yeah. And he's going to fall to about that range. That he's going Sault Ste. Marie all the way.
If there is just to create a big board for the Penguins, get a list of the 5 best Sault Ste. Marie players in the draft, and that's your Penguins big board. That is where you start. And then find other guys that have connection to Sault Ste. Marie. Maybe they played for Sault Ste. Marie for a year and then were traded to London or somewhere else. But yeah, if you're looking for Penguins prospects to look for in the draft, get a list of Sault Ste. Marie adjacent or active players, and that is the best way to kind of determine where the Penguins are going to be looking, because we know Kyle Dubas loves his Sioux players, and he's not shy about that. I mean, he brought in Connor Timmins basically because he played for Sault Ste. Marie.
I'm not going to lie, I like Timmins. Down the stretch,
it's always funny when you find out a guy that comes to the Penguins has a connection to Sault Ste. Marie, because it just fits the puzzle perfectly because he's not at all shy about talking how much he loves Sault Ste. Marie, and it's just kind of a fun rolling joke that if the Penguins bring somebody in the case was same in Toronto, like if he brought it was just funny with the guys that had how many had connections back to the Sioux.
It is funny, but Robbie, quickly before we move on from the draft stuff, when are they going to start picking some guys out of your own state? Because I saw that Porter Martone, pretty highly touted prospect, he's got offered an NIL deal for the Nittany Lions, your alma mater, your school.
Yeah.
As well as there's talks of, I believe it's Michael Misa's little brother, Luke Misa or Luca Misa. He's potentially going to maybe enter not the transfer portal because he's not playing in college. Yeah. But you know what I mean? He might use his leverage now with these new rules, and he might be going into the backyard of the Penguins there for the Nittany Lions, because that program is booming, and it looks like it's starting to attract some big-name players. So how long until Kyle Dubas is just taking a stroll to Penn State? I don't know how far away Penn State is from Pittsburgh proper, but when's he going to start maybe showing up to some of those games?
Well, Luke Misa has already committed to Penn State for next season.
That's a big get, right? Like, that's exciting.
Now he is teammates with Porter Martone, and there is talk that Martone has a deal in place to come to Penn State next season. I think a lot may depend on where he's drafted, because if he's drafted and he's not in that top 5, I think he could definitely go to college for a year and develop there, which I think would be the plan, because I think he would be too young to play in the AHL. Yeah, I mean, it's all about money. Now again,
I mean, do you blame them?
No, I don't.
No, we're past that, right? We don't think like that anymore. Go to make your coin, because nothing is guaranteed in the once you start getting older. Yeah, make your money while you can.
Absolutely. And the rumors are that Porter Martone has a deal on the table to come play as well. Michael Misa is projected to be a top 2 pick. He could fall anywhere in that in there. He could go 1 overall. He could go to 2, depending on what the Islanders decide to do. So he might be a guy that goes right to the NHL. But if not, maybe he wants to join his brother for a year. I'm not going to say no to that. And then there's also rumors that Gavin McKenna is shopping around colleges for next season as well, potentially.
Do you think the Nittany Lions, Penn State, are they maybe out of the bidding war for a guy like Gavin McKenna? Is he maybe more of like a North Dakota?
Michigan? I mean, you'd have to compete with some absolutely massive programs, historic programs, for a guy like McKenna. But McKenna has proven that at the junior level, he's well and beyond anybody that he competes against. So if he wants a little stiffer competition, a different type of game, he could go college. But if not, if he says he's going to college, there's going to be 50 colleges lining up at his door to try to get him. So if he goes that route, he's going to have plenty of suitors.
You think it's going to be like the Vinny LeCavalier, where he posts up at a hotel and he just has colleges coming to his room and bringing him food and offerings and basically just throwing briefcases of cash and opportunities, lacing his parents with you know what I mean? You think it's going to be that kind of scenario for Gavin McKenna?
I think that the NIL deals will be very hefty for Gavin McKenna, and it'll be a lot of wheeling and dealing and negotiation for as high as a number as he can get out of whatever school is willing to pay it.
Yeah, because obviously the skills there, he probably just wants to go to a place where he probably is thinking, I need to develop further. Like the kid's going to be NHL ready. Is he?
Oh yeah, he's going, when he's picked, he's going to the NHL. There's going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to join his fellow number 1 overall picks of past to be in the NHL within a couple months of being drafted.
Yeah, so that's next year. I feel like everyone knows this draft isn't like got a bona fide superstar in it. Everyone's already thinking about the next draft, and I guess we'll have to wait and see where the Penguins fall. Wouldn't it be funny if there's no expectations next year and the Penguins like make the first round of the playoffs and miss out on Gavin McKenna because there's just no pressure? Jari returns to like 2020 Jari.
Oh gosh. Jari. Yeah, Jari becomes like the dude again. Man, that would man, so many people would be ticked off if that happened.
Who's that one ice skater that we were joking about to get Quinn Hughes to Team USA for the Four Nations we were referencing? Someone's gonna like hurt their own teammate to like
Tanya Harding.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's gonna have to pull a Tanya Harding for the Penguins if he starts heating up early on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, as far as draft stuff goes, we can move on from that. We're still like 7 weeks away from even having we're probably like 6 weeks away from having like legit draft boards and ideas.
Yeah, seeing where
there's a St. Marie player going in between 10 and 15, it's just draw up the contract already.
Yeah, absolutely. But okay, we got plenty of mailbag questions to get to this week. You guys really showed out this week. We have multiple people asking questions, so we're just going to dive right in here, and we'll start with the coaching search, which we don't know much about as of right now. And we'll start with Brian. He says, do you think once Dubas hires a new head coach that he will bring in a fully new coaching staff? Do you think any of the current coaching staff is safe?
Is any of the coaching staff safe that's on there right now? I would have to say probably there's no one that's like safe. I don't know. I feel like David Quinn and who's the all white guy? Vellucci.
Mike Vellucci. Yep.
I mean, those guys are due for opportunities elsewhere. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I feel like they would probably take an equivalent job that they could get within the Penguins organization somewhere else just for a change of scenery at this point. I know Vellucci, Rob, we talked about it. He's been interviewed before. Like, the Penguins granted him access to talk to other teams a couple of years ago. David Quinn, I don't really know what to think of that guy, dude. Like, I kind of feel for him. He's been dubbed maybe the most handsome coach in the NHL, but everywhere he's gone, he's never really had – I feel like the biggest impact he's actually ever had was fixing the power play for the Penguins alongside Sullivan.
Yeah.
You could argue that's his biggest bump as a coach. And I don't really – he might be one of those guys that goes back to college. I think that might be where he's slotted. So I just see it being – I bet it's going to be a whole new coaching staff. And if anyone's job – shouldn't be saved, it should be that Andy Chiodo feller.
Yeah.
Goalie coach. That's where I'm at with it. Robbie, I'd love to hear what you think.
I think they're going to let the new coach bring in the guys he wants. I don't see any benefit of holding over David Quinn for another year, even though he did have success with the power play. I think the smart move is to just bring a new staff in, a clean slate with whoever the new coach is. I'm trying to think. It sounds like, I believe Kyle Dubas said Mike Vellucci and Andy Chiodo are without contract whenever that, I don't know exactly when they renew or whenever like their full contracts technically expire, but they are free to look for other employment. It sounds like both of those guys will not be returning at the very least. Mike Vellucci, I believe, was a finalist for the Devils job last offseason before Sheldon Keefe took it. It sounds like those two guys at the very least are gone, but overall would not surprise me one bit if they just brought in a new coach and then a whole new staff with them.
Robbie, quickly before we move on, just to add a little bit extra to this coaching talk, like there's gonna be a point this summer where there's gonna be a decision made, and we're gonna come on here and give a whole pod just dedicated to the new coach hire. But man, you think Dubas is gonna wait till after the postseason is over to hire a new coach? Like, do you think that is he gonna? Because you can imagine after this Stanley Cup playoffs is over, there's probably going to be some firings, some hirings, some knee-jerk reactions. You think he's going to wait for dust to settle, or do you see him – Dubas seems like a guy he doesn't necessarily always wait for dust to settle. When he he wants his guy. He knows who he is, and he's going to go get him. You think where he's going to kind of have to blue ball us for a while before we really start hearing any? And also, you have to admit this new regime in Pittsburgh with Dubas, he's not Jim Rutherford. Nothing seems to get out. Like nothing really gets out early. Would you say that that's accurate? They're pretty. It's a school of hard. It's God. What's that? I butchered it. Basically, it's radio silence out of there. You don't really hear anything out of this new regime.
Yeah, Josh Yohe had a piece out about not long after Sullivan was fired that basically said that he would expect the coaching search to go on beyond the Worlds. Kyle Dubas is an assistant general manager with that Canadian team, so the idea, I guess, is because Dubas wants to meet these people in person, these potential coaches in person, so he would expect the decision to go on past World, which runs to the end of May. So we're probably looking early June, I'd say at the earliest, unless somebody becomes available that Dubas just knows he wants, and they just do the Skype call or the Zoom call and get the deal done. So it sounds like we're gonna definitely have to wait it out a little bit to see if we'll see when and who the next Penguins coach will be. It definitely sounds like we're going to be in a waiting pattern for at least a couple more weeks here.
I was trying to say Fort Knox. I said Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks. Fort Knox. That's how radio silent it is.
Yeah. That is true. Not much comes out of this Penguins team, this front office. You don't hear much at all. You kind of can parse out like who obvious trade pieces are, who guys they might look for in trades or in free agency. But in terms of like a true rumors, true smoke, they do remain pretty tight-lipped, which credit in today's world with how these insiders work and stuff like that not that much really gets out.
Well, Jim Rutherford will go out and just air out everything. He'll be like,
Rutherford's not really
returned my phone calls, and we're going to look to bring his brother in. Like that dude, sometimes you almost got to probably duct tape his mouth closed because that guy, and we're all familiar with how Rutherford, he really shoots from the hip. He doesn't care. But yeah, this new team, they really keep it locked tight with what gets out.
Yeah, I definitely think that Rutherford just likes talking. He just kind of just sits down. You put a mic in front of him, you can learn a whole heck of a lot about his plans, his life, his family, the team, what he feels about what he prefers his steak to be cooked at. He'll give you the whole biography without really having to ask much. But Dubas is definitely much more zipped up than Rutherford did. Rutherford just kind of goes out there, puts everything on blast, and make of it what you will.
Yeah, more power to him. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see here. Here, we'll go. Andreas Castle asked this. We'll take it away from the Penguins a little bit. He asks thoughts on the Utah Mammoths.
Yeah, I like it. Mammoth, I think of the Ice Age. I think of cold. I think of a mammoth is just an epic animal. They're also coming back, too, if you haven't heard that weird, like, have you heard about that? They're, like, trying to bring back woolly mammoth. And
I know what you're talking about.
Interesting stuff. So what a year for the woolly mammoth as an extinct species. But I think that it's appropriate. It's good. I'm glad they didn't go Utah HC. I'm glad that they didn't just go with I thought the Yetis would have been good, but that sounded like it turned into a whole mess. I like it. Robbie, where are you at with it?
I like the name too. I'm not as thrilled about the uniform. I would have liked to seen some more purple in there to kind of match the Jazz look. But I like the I guess slogan of Tusks Up. I do like the use of that.
Is that their slogan?
I believe so. Yeah. They had shirts with it on. So if that's where they're going with that. I think the Mammoth is that doesn't really exist in terms of like sports mascots at any level. It's a unique one. Utah needed something unique, I think. They had plenty they could have drawn on out there. But no, I mean, overall, when I heard Yetis was kind of out because of trademark issues, that's who back when they first became a team last year, I was kind of hoping it was Yetis, or Yeti. They could have gone with the plural without the S. But no, I'm happy with Mammoths. I think it's a unique one, at least in terms of North American sports. It needed to be something different and not generic, and I think they did the best of what the options were. And I'm looking forward to seeing the uniforms on the ice. But
they got good unions.
They do. The color, even without the purple, I think the color combination works fine. So excited to see them. They are keeping the wordmark Utah for their road jerseys, which I think is pretty nice. But no, I'm interested to see the Mammoth at center ice and see how that looks. But I mean, overall, I think of all the name choices that were talked about, that was your best option once Yetis was out the door. And it's unique, and it's something nobody else has. And it kind of makes you guys stand out a little bit. And they're a team that's on the rise and looking to make an impact. And now they have a name. And, yeah, I like it. I like where they went, and I think they made a pretty solid choice there. And it'll be cool to no longer call them the hockey club.
Yeah, agreed. Or the Utahns or something.
Yeah. All right, Brian here. We're going back to Brian here. He asks, are you worried that they will push Murashov too quickly and ruin his development? It doesn't seem that's what they're trying to do, but he's shined everywhere. And with goalie being such a volatile position, do you have any worries?
I was. It's not like with Blomqvist, where with Blomqvist, I thought they were rushing him because I think they had injury issues when they brought Blomqvist up, right? Like they kind of rushed him. Mm-hmm. With Sergei Murashov, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm really that worried about his development. I think that guy just likes to have pucks shot at him, and he likes stopping pucks. I think that's just what he likes to do. It doesn't matter if it's in Russia, if it's in juniors, if it's in the AHL, the NHL, like it in a backyard somewhere. Like I just think that dude just likes stopping pucks, and I'm not really concerned about him and the way that he plays at every level. I just have a hard time believing that the NHL is what's going to break him. I think that, and he's young, like he's Fleury. How many ups and downs did Fleury have? He's a Hall of Famer, and we all know more than anyone, Fleury's had his ups and downs, but it never took away from him being talented and great. And he eventually got the job done when he needed to. Murashov, I think, is going to be the same way. I think that guy is going to. He just probably is so excited for the NHL. And yeah, he's going to take his lumps. He's going to struggle at times, but I think the talent is so unbelievable that I'm just excited for him to finally get here when he does. But I'm not worried about them rushing him. What about you, Rob?
No, I think that, again, like you kind of put it pretty plainly there. The dude, I think his entire point, where he gets his enjoyment is just staying there and making your life miserable as an offensive player. I really think he gains some kind of like demented joy out of making your life miserable as a shooter.
Probably.
And yeah, that's probably what he watches for enjoyment is goalie stopping pucks. And again, he's been good at every level. Like there's been no like when he came up to the AHL, you're always wondering maybe he shows signs that he's not quite there yet. He's not seasoned enough. And he comes up and wins like his first 13 starts. He's just that guy, it seems like. And yeah, you don't want to rush him. You don't want to ruin anything. But he's a guy that, okay, if he has a bad start, he seems like he can just, like a young Matt Murray. Murray, when he came up, if he had a bad start, he just washed it off and went on to the next one and tried to bounce back. And he was very successful at that. Murashov, even when he lost the game in Wilkes-Barre, kind of found a way just to bounce back. He's just a guy that I think he loves hockey. He loves playing goal. And he just it's his thing. He's just good at it. That's what he gets enjoyment out of. And he seems like a very confident guy that's not going to let a bad game here or there to shake him. So I like where his development's at. I'm trusting the Penguins with this. It seems like Dubas has a plan for him, and I'm not going to back off he's the starting goaltender opening night in October yet, but he just seems like a dude that has his head in the right place, and he's ready to get out there and stop pucks, whether it be October or in the NHL or in the AHL, wherever. The dude's just going to keep playing his game and not let anything bother him.
Out here, there's no one way of doing things. No unwritten rules, and no shortage of adventure. Because out here, the only requirement is having fun. Bank of America invites kids 6 to 18 to golf with us. For a limited time, sign them up for a free 1-year membership, giving them access to discounted tee times at thousands of courses. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/golf with us. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Restrictions apply. See BofA.com/golf with us for complete details. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This message is brought to you by Abercrombie Kids, where the activewear is made for every summer activity, so your mini-me can bring their personal best. Summer days are always an adventure. From day camp to rec leagues and pool days, Abercrombie Kids has the shorts, tees, and swim to keep them comfy and keep up with them. Get everything for the entire summer at Abercrombie Kids. Shop in-store, online, or in the app.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more flavor to pair with all the amazing food in the city. You can have the best meal in the world here if you can get a reservation. Vitamin Water is so New York. Its 3 favorite cheeses are chopped cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, and a slice of cheese pizza. We know where to get the best sushi in the city, and best nachos, and best bagels, and best... You get it. And you can find food trucks better than 5-star restaurants. Drink Vitamin Water. It's from New York.
Yeah, I was actually just going to follow up with a question, Robbie. I was going to say, do you think that we see him next year? And if we do, how soon?
I mean, I'm going to stick until I'm proven otherwise. I'm going to stick with my bold prediction of Sergei Murashov's the opening night goaltender. But if that doesn't come to fruition, I think it's really going to depend on how the other guys play at that point. Because if he's not there opening night, I think that, again, if the idea next year is to be in position for a high draft pick, I think that Murashov probably plays most of the season in Wilkes-Barre again. And I think that the franchise is completely fine with that because you're going to have to figure out, again, what Dubas said about the goaltenders at his season-ending practice conference is all grain of salt territory. Don't think too much into it because we really have no idea what the mindset is. He's not going to throw anybody under the bus and ruin trade value or anything like that. But if we go in next year, and even if it's Nedeljkovic and Blomqvist or Philip Larson, whatever they do there, there's just so many factors at play now. And I think if he's spending most of 2025, 26 in Wilkes-Barre, they're completely fine with that. And then the next season becomes when it's pedal to the metal.
Right on. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of action from him at some point next year, no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Let me pick another one here. All right, we'll go with Edward Beckham back here. He said, within 48 hours of me buying a ticket to see Canada in Stockholm, this is at the World Championships, Crosby, McKinnon, and Fleury have all been announced for Team Canada. Just how good will that be?
Dang, that's awesome. Good for you, Ed. That'll be what a treat to buy that.
Those guys. I mean, those guys are fans, but they don't get up close and personal with these guys very often. So yeah, that's got to be pretty exciting for Edward and whoever else is going to be out there. That's got to be a really hot ticket. He probably got lucky and got those tickets at the right time.
I'm sure, and luckily they didn't announce it 48 hours prior because I doubt Ed would have gotten a ticket because you're going to be competing with Americans and Canadians probably trying to get over there and see these guys play. So, yeah, dude, so it's going to be awesome. Enjoy it. You're actually seeing Fleury's final tour.
Basically, yeah. Absolutely.
Crosby, McKinnon. I saw that Sid's going to be on a line with like Adam Fantilli and Macklin Celebrini or something like that.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah.
It's going to be such a treat, man. I mean, dude, they're going to work some of these countries so bad.
I mean, yeah, the worlds are completely different because, I mean, you don't have like an Olympic roster, but I mean, you're still throwing out like some pretty cakey. You're facing up against some pretty cakey lineups sometimes. Now Sweden, Sweden's going to be it's going to be in Sweden,
right?
So it should be exciting. I don't know exactly. He didn't say who he's seeing them play, but he's seeing them play in Stockholm. So it could be literally anybody. But it should be really fun to go out there and see that because these guys don't get to see these big names in person all the time. So enjoy it for certain. Edward, enjoy it. Let us know how it is because that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. That's cool. Summer in Stockholm watching Sid and the boys. Wild.
They did announce the captains are Sidney Crosby is the captain, Nate McKinnon, and Ryan O'Reilly are the assistants. So
solid leadership group.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be picking Mike Matheson or I don't know. Brandon Montour is another great name over there playing. There's a lot of guys that could wear the A, but Ryan O'Reilly's such a leader. McKinnon, when Sid's retired, he'll probably be the captain one day for Canada. I could actually no, yeah. McDavid. I don't know. It's a coin flip.
It is. It is just a complete coin flip. Just kind of looking through the roster real quick. I mean, there's a lot of talent playing there for Canada. So yeah, definitely enjoy it because it's going to be a ton of fun. Brian asked a draft question here. Brian thinks that what's the kid's name here? Victor Eklund, who's been a name that a lot of Penguins draft gurus have looked at. He thinks they may be out of range for him. By that time, it all depend, obviously. But Brian said he'd love to see Kashawn Atkinson, a left-handed defenseman from the Barrie Colts. So that's not really much of a question, more of a statement. So Eklund, I've seen still projected to the Penguins, even at 11. It's a Wes Clark type player, they said. Wes Clark being the Penguins' head scout now. So that'll be a name to definitely keep in mind there. So
there's this I like the kids from the WHL. That's kind of like I think players I'll die on this hill. I think WHL players are so much more NHL ready when you're picking them high because of the rigorous travel, the schedule, all that. There's a dude in Tri-City, Jackson Smith, who's a physical 6'3" left-handed D-man.
Yeah.
I just think that, Owen Pickering, he's got to take a step next year. Yeah. But and I know that it's been a joke almost with this backlog of left-handed D that the Penguins have had for like a couple of years now. But why not get a rugged guy from the Dub in with the Penguins and put him up through the minors through Wilkes? You could always use a 6'3" stay-at-home D-man, especially when they start wanting to make playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys have a WHL team out there in Seattle. You're not far from the Winterhawks are in Portland, Oregon, right?
Yeah, so like just in Washington, it's like four corners of the state. Actually, not really. Everett is just 30 minutes north of me, and they've got that Landon DuPont kid. They had an unreal season. And then the rivalry is the Everett Silvertips and the Seattle Thunderbirds. Those guys are both a half an hour up and down I-5. And then over in Spokane, you've got the Spokane Chiefs, and then you've got the Tri-City Americans down in the southeast corner of the state. So we've got
Washington has 4 WHL teams.
Oh, and I don't know if it was a 1 or 2 year thing, but I think there's the Wenatchee Wild now too. So we have 5 WHL teams.
Jeez, so you guys got a lot of young young talent brewing out in the Pacific Northwest there. And then you have the Winterhawks that aren't really that far from you guys either. A little farther, obviously, than like the Thunderbirds or the Silvertips going the other direction.
It's quicker to get to Portland than it is to get to Spokane.
Okay. So yeah, you guys got a lot of young talent brewing out there in the
talk
Pacific
about
Northwest.
going over the border too. If you just go right over the border, like the border is only like 2 hours north, and you've got like Kelowna, which is like eastern. It's just north of like if you went to Eastern Washington and went north, there's Kelowna. Then you've got Victoria, BC. Like they've got the Vancouver Giants. So let's within like a 5 hour, car drive. There's like 8 WHL teams.
So you have like half the league just parked out in like a drivable radius. For you. So so no wonder you like the WHL guys. But I do believe that somebody, I think it was like last draft season, somebody said that over the past like decade plus, the WHL guys have been the most NHL ready outside of your like freak superstars,
right?
Have been the most NHL or produced the most NHL talent or within a certain 2 to 3 years of being drafted or something like that. So
yeah, I firmly believe that. I firmly believe it. It's just you see it, and yeah. Aside from the guys that are like you said, first overall pick, they're ready to just jump right into the league.
Yeah.
There's been some really notable guys from the WHL over the years that just like Braden Point, Matthew Barzal. Those guys were WHL guys. They jumped right in and never looked back.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian here, he said, are you frustrated like me that there are fans worried Sid is going to leave now because Sullivan was his guy in the organization, let him go? What more does Sid have to prove his loyalty?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, as soon as it happened, you just knew that like the media in Canada was licking their lips, ready to just punch out those stories about Crosby leaving as soon as it came out.
They're never going to drop that. They keep saying, Dubas is just praying Sidney Crosby begs for a trade out of there. Dubas is not wishing that. Getting rid of Crosby doesn't guarantee you Gavin McKenna next year. Like,
no, not even close.
It doesn't do that. I don't know. I don't care what. I'll fight an analyst over this. If they think that they just need to get rid of Sid for them to have Gavin McKenna, that's not what they were saying about Mario Lemieux with Sidney Crosby. They weren't like, Mario's got to be gone for them to get Sidney Crosby. Just simply, it's just asinine stuff. The dude has come out and said, has Sid ever been someone to posture and be weird when it's, you know what I mean? Like, he came out and said, he's like, I don't know why you keep asking me this question. I signed a contract here for a reason. It's got to be some catastrophe that happens where, I don't know, like something weird, like falling out between management and Sid, or like, it's just not it. As of we know right now, it's not going to happen. And for people that are concerned about it, Robbie, this is the last I'll say on it. I'll hand you the mic after this, but like, if he does leave, then we never, like, it was all like it's out of our control anyways.
Yeah. The only thing I'll really say is we talk about Crosby leaving more than Crosby ever thinks about leaving.
That's a really good point. That's a really well said.
And that's pretty much, yeah. We all talk about Crosby leaving Pittsburgh more than he ever actually thinks about leaving Pittsburgh. So,
wait,
hopefully that makes you.
I have one more thing. Do you think that while Sid is over there overseas, do you think Nate McKinnon has like hinted at it at all, being like, we could use a second line center?
Crosby should just say, yeah, I know the Penguins could definitely use a second line center. Why don't you come over? Why don't you come over?
Yeah, why don't you come speed up this rebuild over here?
Yeah, we'll take you to Permanis. We'll show you around the city, and yeah, it's yeah. You can live with me.
Yeah, use my gym, my cold tubs.
Okay, let's see.
Dude, I got a question here that I saw in here that I think that it's appropriate. This is a fun one, because you know how much we love talking about Penguins days of old. Brian asked here, would you say that Kirby Doc is this generation's Bo Bennett? Guy can't catch a break. If not him, who would you say is this generation's Bo Bennett? It's also wild for me to think that Bo Bennett isn't in this generation anymore.
I was going to say, like, I'm pretty sure Bo Bennett might still be this generation.
He's young. He's like not that old.
He's not. I mean, he may be 30 years old at this point because he was drafted young. Like, I mean, he was drafted as a 18-year-old, I think.
Was it 2014, 2013?
I don't know when Bo was drafted. Man, it feels like so long ago. He was drafted in 2010. 2010. Okay, he is 33. I didn't think he was that. I thought he was a few years after that. Then
he was still like always just young in my mind.
He looks young. He's also baby faced. He's also looks like just very young. Like he's never looked old. But I believe he has a cup ring. I mean,
I think he does. 2000 was it?
2016, I think it was 16. Yeah,
16. Yeah.
But
Kirby
no, I mean,
is a great analogy though. Like
it is. I never really thought of it. I never really thought of that as an analogy, but I do like it. But Bo Bennett, I mean, they kind of Bo Bennett was. When was Doc picked? Doc was
3rd overall by Chicago, I think.
Yeah, so Bennett, he was 2019. Bo Bennett was picked 20th overall. How was Chicago picking 3rd in 2019?
Maybe I'm getting this mixed up. I should double check this, but I swear they picked Doc like it was a shock.
So 2020. Yeah, I mean, he's with Montreal now. He played 57 games this year. I mean, he's probably played more games than Bo Bennett did, to be honest. Bennett could just, man, when you're getting hurt celebrating a goal, you know, it's just not going to work out sometimes. And Bennett had like what always gets Bennett could have been great. Like Bennett could have been absolutely phenomenal in Pittsburgh, playing with a guy like Crosby. He had the shot, he had the skating. He just, for whatever reason, could never be healthy, and that part it sucks. And it's always going to be one of those what ifs. Could he have been the right-handed Gensel? I don't know.
But
it sucks that we never will get to know because he just couldn't stay healthy, and that's how it goes for some people. Because when he was healthy, he played really good, but the health was the key factor, and it just never worked out.
Dude, a better question is, how did Chicago pick 3rd overall in 2019?
Let's see. Oh, that's not right.
Because in 2018-19, like they still had Taves and Kane, and I think Duncan Keith was still playing with them.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that would signify them. No, they were bad.
Oh, they were bad.
Yep. Well, they missed the playoffs. They weren't as bad as they are now. They still had 84 points. But they were kind of what the Penguins were this year, kind of in that, and they probably got the luck of the draw and moved up the draft and ended up picking 3rd and going with Kirby Doc there.
They drafted that. They have that Vlasic kid right now. If they were rebuilding, why would they get rid of Hagel and Doc?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Those are two good pieces to build around.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. The kind of like, have kind of filed that all away in my head about how guys. He was traded to the Blackhawks. Traded from the Blackhawks to the Canadians for a 1st-round draft pick and 3rd-round draft pick in 2022. It would have been a 23 draft pick, though. So, yeah.
Weird stuff. Those draft lotteries, those rabbit holes you can go down with picks that were traded, and this player fetched that, and they drafted him here. That's a fascinating thing you could make documentaries about.
Oh yeah, for certain. All right, we'll take, since we're going to transition into playoff talk. We'll start here first. Mikko Rantanen is on another one right now. And Andreas said, with Mikko Rantanen performing the way the Stars, way he is, are the Stars Stanley Cup favorites? He seems unstoppable.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's playing like this, they are unstoppable.
Oh, my gosh. He has hat tricks in back-to-back games. He has
wasn't it back-to-back periods? Technically 2 different games?
No, he went the second period.
Oh, he did.
No, he did. The hat trick against the Jets was in the second period. The hat trick in Game 7 was in the third period. So he did take a period off of being unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
I mean, even earlier in that series, he has 17 points in the last 12 games or something like that. It's something insane. He's averaging almost 3 points a game. Let's put it like that.
Do you think Nate McKinnon's upset?
I think there's a lot of people in Colorado that are probably pretty upset. There's probably a lot of people in Carolina that are pretty upset.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
He's just doing stuff that's just insane. It's just he can't stop. I've never seen anybody this hot in the Stanley Cup within this last decade plus. Just this, you've had great playoff performances, but he is just, 2 consecutive hat tricks in the Stanley Cup playoffs is insane against 2 teams that were considered Stanley Cup, co-Stanley Cup favorites with Colorado and Winnipeg. He's just out of control. He's out of control. And
I was rewatching some of his clips because I was watching those games and I was watching some of his highlights, and dude, he's a massive player too. He's a big body he's kind of I hate throwing around these comparisons lightly because it's a pet peeve of mine, but he's almost like Yager in a way. He just gets chugging, and he just finds a way. He's assisting on big goals too. He's not just putting the puck in the net. He's setting up guys, and he's just kind of reminding me of almost he's summoned Yager in a way with the way he's playing right now. It's pretty crazy to watch.
It is the way he's playing has been pretty insane. And Edward asks, who do you think has been the biggest surprise so far in the playoffs?
I would say Hellebuck for how bad he's been.
That's fair. It's a more of a bad surprise. Let's put it like that.
Connor Brown's a bottom 6 player, and he's kind of on a heater. I think he's got I don't actually know how many, but he scored a couple beauties, and that dude is he was a great juniors player. He was a good prospect. And then he played on what was it? He played for Toronto during the Babcock years.
Yeah.
And then I think he had some injury problems. I know he was in Ottawa. He was in DC, and he had an ACL tear. Came back at the end of the year last year and had a pretty good playoffs. And then this year that guy's a versatile player now. He can play up and down your lineup. He has chemistry with McDavid. But that dude is oddly on fire for what he's kind of always been projected to be with prior teams. So Hellebuck and Brown for me, but what about you, Robbie?
I'm going to say the Toronto Maple Leafs. There were, again, 3-0 in the first series. It got a little dicey. I understand that. But going up 2-0, I understand it's at home on the defending Stanley Cup champions, when I thought that Florida was going to win this in 6.
Right.
And they're playing, it's not like a fluky 2-0. They're playing good hockey. You have Stolarz was good until he went down, but Jacob Wool's playoff numbers are like he's just unbeatable in the play. He's it's like a transformer or something. It's like a robot.
Wonderwall is what they're calling him.
But they're getting good production all over the place. And for my second candidate here, I'm going to say the Oilers' depth.
Yeah,
I
unreal.
read today in the entire playoffs last year, goals that were not 5-on-5 goals, not from Connor McDavid, or the non-McDavid Draisaitl players scored 12 goals in the playoffs at 5-on-5 last year. So far through 6 games in this or 8 games in these playoffs, they scored 14.
That's the help they deserve. The Draisaitl and McDavid deserve.
And finally, Calvin Pickard has been. I mean, when you're playing like that, you just need adequate goaltending.
Hasn't he won 6 in a row?
Yeah,
Calvin Pickard. He might not have played 6 games definitely not in a row in his career, but like he might. Like, how many NHL games did that guy really even get into last year? Like, it's unreal what he's doing.
Oh yeah. But again, he came in game 3 of that series against LA, and he's been their goalie since then. And again, nothing flashy, but when you're a team like the Oilers, you don't need the Vasilevsky like goaltending. It certainly helps, but you just need adequate goaltending. They go down and they find a way to come back. Pickard makes some big saves, and then you just let McDavid and Draisaitl do what they did. He made Jack Eichel look absolutely just like basically like he was playing a junior player.
Yeah,
out there last night. He made him look like completely pedestrian. You can't get caught flat-footed against McDavid. He turned him inside out, and then he hits Draisaitl for the game winner. But might as well just roll right into it. Anything from these first? I mean, it's still early in the second round here. Toronto's up 2-0. They play game 3 tonight. We're literally going to start here any moment as we record this. Capitals and Carolina are 1-1. Winnipeg, Dallas is 1-0 in favor of the Stars, and it's 2-0 Edmonton on the road with Vegas. So, any quick thoughts on these series so far?
Toronto, William Nylander just scoring goals and looking good for Toronto. Like,
Nylander looks really good.
Yeah, he is looking good. He's looking unfazed. It doesn't look like the moment's too big for a lot of these players.
It doesn't seem like he gets bothered very, very much.
True, but even Marner, who shrinks when it gets the moment,
Marner's been really good too.
He's been good. Matthew's been kind of quiet, oddly, but he's. A lot of people think of 69 goals score Matthews. Nice. He's also one of the better defensive centermen in the game now. He's doing a lot of work that's not flashy and putting the puck in the net. The other series you mentioned, dude, Edmonton winning 2 in Vegas and going back home to that Spain stadium out there up in oil country, dude. I mean, like I've been bold at times with my picks and sweeps. I didn't see this happening with the Oilers, dude.
No,
if the Oilers win out, like if they continue just like this crazy hot streak, could Calvin Pickard be a Conn Smythe candidate?
I think for Pickard to win a Conn Smythe, Draisaitl or McDavid would have to not exist.
Okay, sure.
I just think that, like, in my mind, Edmonton winning a cup, but McDavid or Draisaitl not being the Conn Smythe just doesn't really compute.
Right.
It just doesn't compute just because that when you think of Edmonton, you obviously think of those two guys. If any team can come back from going down 2-0 at home, it is Vegas. So I'm definitely not writing them off by any means, but I mean, I don't know what you do. Nick Roy took maybe the dumbest penalty I've ever seen, ever. I'm talking ever. It wasn't even like a retaliatory anything. It was just he cross-checked Trent Frederick in the face, like in overtime.
That was kind of weird. Do you think Trent said something to him that was super offsides or something? Because why would you do that?
I understand there's probably plenty of people that want to cross-check Trent Frederick in the face, but you're in overtime of a game you basically have to win at home against the best power play unit in the playoffs, and it was just so random. It's just like he stood up, they both stood up, and he put the stick right in his and then the ref just had all the Oilers players were like almost stunned that it happened. Like,
yeah,
I really don't understand what the thinking was. It was completely out of nowhere. There was no hit that preceded it. There was no. It didn't look like there was any jawing, like you said. Unless he said something right then that just that Nick Roy just had to react to. I don't know. It was one of the more bizarre moments that I've seen. I couldn't believe it. When I thought maybe at first I'm like, I saw him go down. I thought maybe it was a spear or something. And then I'm like, and I thought the game was over at that point. I'm like, there's no way they're killing off 5 minutes. And to their credit, they did. But then they couldn't score, use any of that momentum to score, and eventually Draisaitl won it later in the first overtime. So
I can't believe they didn't score on that 5-minute power play. I thought Vegas was going to win after that. I was like,
I think if they killed that, dude, they have all that momentum. That crowd's into it. I really thought they were going to find a way to score. I really didn't think that I thought Edmonton had to score in that 5-minute power play, and when they didn't, I thought it was Vegas's to lose.
McJesus and Imagine, do you think that Aiden Hill had a dump in his pants after he sees McDavid and Draisaitl alone just like high speed at you? Like, I feel like there's no way that he didn't like actually maybe like have a turd in his jock after that.
He pulled off his jock and like a little turd just goes boop right on that.
Yeah, like he has to waddle off. Like he pulled a Luongo. But could you imagine in overtime, you're Aiden Hill and you see McDavid and Draisaitl barreling towards you? I mean, what do you even do?
Just throw up a prayer. I mean,
you have to guess which one of these guys is going to
shoot. Because McDavid easily could have shot it and picked a corner, and you have to trust your defenseman. And Pietrangelo had no ability to take away that pass. And once it got over there, Hill basically had to hope that Draisaitl just missed the net, and Draisaitl buried it. It was 2-on-1 with those two guys in that situation. It's probably not something that is fun for a goalie to see barreling down at him.
Besides like Mario Lemieux and Yager suiting up, that's probably the number. Those are the two players you would least like to see in overtime. Basically, I mean, I know Pietrangelo was there, but it was basically a breakaway. Like Pietrangelo wasn't going to do much on that unless he took a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. That pretty much puts a bow on this. Do you have anything you want to say before we head into the weekend?
Matthew Nyes, the new best power forward in the league, has scored for the Maple Leafs. They are currently up 1-0 on the Florida Panthers.
What would it be something if we got an Edmonton-Toronto Stanley Cup final?
I'd be happy for Canada.
They'd probably, it would be a national like event.
Oh, there would be benders that people never come off of.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, because they would go on it for fun and work purposes. And if their team loses, if Toronto lost to Edmonton in a Stanley Cup final, there would be benders that never cease.
Yeah, that country would be an absolute war zone for throughout the summer, at least.
It would definitely add to the turmoil that is just in the air right now in North America. But man, it's hard to pick who's going to come out of this stuff. Like they're up 2-0 in Florida. You still can't count Florida out.
No, I would never count Florida.
No, Aaron Ekblad might. I don't know. Someone might go hurt someone over there.
Yeah,
you never know what they could do. So, yeah, man, I don't really have much left to say on the playoffs. I'm just assuming it's going to be another raucous night of really exciting hockey. And
the playoffs have been incredible. It's been night in and night out. Just great theater, and I hope it goes. I mean, obviously, it's going to end at some point, but I'm just going to enjoy it as is because it's just been tremendous.
Tremendous is the great word to put it, and yeah, kind of exceeding my expectations of excitement. You know, because usually you get a couple of dud games here and there, blowout here and there. Feels like everyone's kind of in it. Or if it is a higher scoring game, there's a good storyline as to why that's happening, and someone's going to make a push to come back. So, yeah, good stuff, Robbie. That's all I really got. we'll get some more questions and stuff from this mailbag. If you didn't hear yours, we'll get to it. I don't know, probably Monday or something.
Yeah, we'll be back again next week, another episode or two. More playoffs to talk about, more mailbag, and again, we'll have a couple. As long as we have Penguins playing in the World Championships, we'll talk about how that's going out there as well. So,
yep, good point. And if Robbie, if something like let's put this out there, if something over the weekend happens where Kyle Dubas hires somebody, we'll have an emergency pod and hop on.
If we would get a Penguins head coach over the weekend, we will have an episode to cover that as well. There's no doubt about that. That's
all I got, pal.
All right.
Thanks for the people writing in questions and making it, giving us stuff to rant about. All the usual suspects there on Twitter. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. So that will put a bow on this one. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the playoff hockey. Enjoy the good weather if you have it. And we'll talk to you guys next week.